and now I also have a different thing I wanted to show you. So for that, I'm gonna need a markdown document. Let me find something. I can probably find.
I
Uh,
can you share the code that you used to show the completion preview completions in the echo area?
yeah, absolutely. It's all in my.
So I want
It's
to try turning off Corfu and trying completion preview because I had the wrong idea about this package. I thought there was no way to um,
okay.
see more than one completion. Yeah.
I'm sharing the exact link to the file on GitHub. Let me make sure my stuff is pushed. Well, like this stuff been pushed a while ago. Um, so the next thing I wanted to talk about, but this is like very experimental. I've been playing with this, so I've been increasingly working a lot, like dealing with a lot of Markdown documents, which is a usual case for most of us. The problem with Markdown, like certain things work, right? Like iMenu works, but I prefer org mode because org mode has tons of interesting things like sparse trees, right? I would love to have sparse trees in, especially when Markdown documents become like huge, right? And there's no like, it's the cycling also is different. So check this out. So imagine if you have a Markdown document, but then you decide that you want to look into the document as in org mode, and you can just do that, right? And imagine you can even change certain things in your like org mode document, and then you go back and it actually puts it into Markdown. So I've been playing with this thing. Apparently, it doesn't work. Like editing is kind of turns out tricky because I'll go into code and I'll get into more details. This turned out like my idea was why can't I just look at the piece of Markdown and seamlessly just do it in org mode, right? Deal with this piece. And why can I just edit things, blah, 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 in org mode, right? And like press Control C, and it goes to the document like this. But then I found that it does like weird things because you have to structurally diff two different things. And that turned out to be really, really hard problem. And I am still working on it, but it's I have a good start, but it's highly experimental. It's a package I called Prisma, um, and I'm hoping to add also the JSON and Eden, but that probably just for my personal kind of use. But yeah, this is out. I just made it public, and yeah, this is how it works. It basically that tracks the ASD. It requires the tree sitter. Well, like the tree sitter that works. I'm not even sure that if it works in older Emacs before 29.
I have
Uh,
many questions.
sure, go ahead.
Yeah, no, you can continue. I just this is very interesting. But
This is
yeah,
interesting, but this is highly experimental, and
Mhm.
yeah, even though I had to write the spec, yes, I did use LLMs to work with that because the problem space is, but it was still with I went through the pegs and I like and I tried to um, the like well like I said, I was trying to do also at the same time to do this similar thing for JSON and Eden. And my idea also was like if I can extend it to YAML. Imagine like looking at YAML and saying like, no, I don't want to look at YAML. I understand that this is contextually it's YAML, but I want to look at it as its org mode, change it in org mode, and like seamlessly translate that to YAML. And that turned out to be like because specifics of like so there's the spec there. There's some strategy I try to like like it's for testing strategy because I needed to figure out like a testing strategy for this because I had a lot of issues with, like, for example, the tables, right? The tables or source code, like, this one, more or less, okay. But if you pick up a table, for example, it would not, initially, it would not do it like right. You see, this is like, where's my org line? I mean, of course, I can run org line here, but are we guaranteed no comment, right? If I do this, uh, you see what it did? It kind of, I mean, like, it did what I expected, like, what I wanted it to do, because this is like proper markdown mode. But now, and it added, changed the right place. But that was like super tricky to get right, especially with I needed like proper testing, etc. So yeah, I hopefully I will work on this some more and I start using it. Last time I tried to show it, it was broken because I had to deal with the tree sitter syntax elements. I didn't have them in my Emacs, but so
Okay.
I imagine bounding it to the like certain key, and it just, instead of calling the command, and it has nice the what's it called, header line, not header line, I forgot what's the proper name for this thing. So, and yeah, you can edit it as if it's org mode.
Um, okay. I have many questions
Sure.
because uh, the spec for org mode is much richer than the spec for Markdown, right?
Yep.
Or JSON or Eden.
Yep.
JSON and Eden are very simple, I guess, even compared to Markdown, just the number of things.
Well, I I, I
So
I believe work mode doesn't have the robust spec, like, or standardized spec. Is that right? There's no like, it's all
yes,
like,
there is the org syntax document on org, W-O-R-G. That's the closest we have to an org spec. But if you just look at the number of syntax elements,
yeah.
it is much richer than Markdown, and these are just the static ones. So we are not yet accounting for all the dynamic behavior that org can have. Dynamic in two different ways. One is extensible in the sense that you can add custom org lane types, right? Things like that, and then also extensible on a per document per heading level, where you can add new to do keywords just for that document, or even just for like a subheading using properties. So I'm assuming that you're targeting like some base subset of org with the most common
Yeah,
features.
I'm honestly, I'm like, I haven't tested it to the, like, I don't know, like, if okay, I have work mode, right? But what if I start adding things that, I don't know, the things with
So simple example. What if you have org properties and you
yes,
convert to
that's what
Markdown and
like,
back?
I'm trying to add org ID. Why is it not adding org ID go to? No, like, oh, what was it? Org ID create, get create. Yeah. So if I try to save that, what happens? Let's
Well, what
see.
should happen?
Well, yeah, like, here's yeah, like, it raises questions. What should happen? So in this
That's
case, it
what
just,
Pandoc does.
huh?
It chooses for you. That's what Pandoc does.
Yeah, Pandoc does that, but Pandoc is non-trivial to do the same trick with like actual documents. It does a lot of things, like it adds property drawers for things that you don't want them to be property drawers. It's really hard to configure. Like, you have to create like yeah, I started with Pandoc actually. I tried to use Pandoc for this thing, and it's like, there are reasons why I just couldn't use Pandoc. And
So I'll be optimistic about Pandoc, and I'll say um, perhaps you can pass config, a configuration, a state of configuration, to Pandoc with classic
no, no,
Unix.
no. You have to understand this. The problem is not the conversion itself. The problem is the diffing at the end, because you have like two different, like, the structural elements. So like, my problem is like not the conversion itself. Like, yeah, sure, we could figure out like how to do this right with, but once you start like typing here and then you want to try to convert that back, how do you ensure that only the parts that changed in the structure of the, because the structure of this document, even though it's similar to the structure of the other document, the original document, once they change like that is the hard part. You understand? So like if you have like if you say like, oh, I want to look at this document as in org mode document. I have all the things that org mode provides, but I want to make like 2 changes over here and over here, right? And then you do Control C, it went in, and you diff. You see what happened? This is not like really, I wanted this, but I didn't want, and I wanted this, but what is this? Why this changed? What is like, why? You see, they're like, it's a lot tricky when you like, think of, it's in real kind of battleground situations. It gets like very difficult to deal with.
I see, I understand, but the problem is it's a road that you must choose. I think here, I just cannot put it into a concrete argument, but I'm gonna say what I'm gonna say. Uh, I don't
Yeah,
think there's actually any way to structurally preserve like fully correctly, properly preserve by actually doing anything at all. I mean, you just these are 2 different formats, and
Yep.
conversion
Yep.
in any cases, it just cannot be fully lossless if you're aiming for more than a simple
Absolutely.
string substitution.
Absolutely. I mean, like, I come with naive thinking that why can I make it so it's like round tripping and it's not lossy, it's lossless, but I mean, it may just remain just experimental, and it never will
Oh,
work like fully. But for small cases like this, like, oh, I don't want to look. I mean, like, the at least the looking at the document part, if you use it as read-only mode, sure, it's already. I mean, like, I'm
so
looking at the
you
document.
do this to get the navigational properties of org,
Yeah, you get sparse
but
trees,
you
right?
actually design this for simple use cases in editing.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah.
Okay, I
I
get it.
mean, like, initially I wanted this, right? Like, I want to look
Mhm.
at the markdown document as org mode document, and that's all. This case is kind of simple enough. But then you start looking at it, like, now I want to change this part, right? And then, okay, we could probably change just this part and make sure that nothing else in the so we can figure out, like, so you see how hard that, like, difficult this problem is, because you have to structurally understand you have to get the AST of the document.
Of course, and you have to make choices.
You have to, like, yeah, and you have to, like, there are tons of choices to make, like, do I do this, do I add this? So the, like, after editing part is, and then reconciling with the original document is a really hard problem, and it may not, like, realistically it may not get solved anytime soon, but at least
So
I started with something. Yes.
yeah, so I understand that um, this is a situation where there is definitionally no perfect solution. And I do think you can get to a state where you are pretty happy with the results, even though it's not perfect. But I was curious about the implementation. So how is tree sitter factoring into this?
There are tons of, like, this is all, like, you understand, this is all LLM, right? I didn't
Yes,
type this,
it's
and
very
I've done through different, like, stages. It's been a while. It's been sitting in my bucket, and I would come back and try some more things. So and basically, yeah, like, go through this document to see if it makes sense. I actually try to pull, like, some papers also to analyze them and see if we could, but that's I don't know. I probably opened, like, a rabbit hole of things, but um
Okay, to use this in Markdown documents, do you need to have Markdown TS mode enabled or available?
Yeah, I just fixed a bug that last time was no that this is, and it installs this.
Yeah, so it needs the markdown tree-sitter grammar.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, no, that gives me some idea of how this works. And then JSON and Eden are easy to parse anyway, so you don't
Yeah.
need.
I'll share the link to this project as well. Yeah, I just like flipped it public. The one thing I want to do, I just so in my config, I have whenever I want to, like I often, because I'm dealing with markdowns, I have this. So if I do Control U, you see it says yanked markdown as org, and
Yeah.
this in my config. Let's see the way how it works. Yank org. Yeah. So the way how it works, I have this function that is a starting point that is you see the suffix a is an advising function, and it just because I use evil. So this is what it does, right? And then it says like, oh, if I'm on markdown, I'm gonna use this, and what it does, it actually calls pandog, which works. But I just realized I don't have to do this. I have to flip this because I need to copy, I need to yank it as is, right? Without like converting it. And when I'm pasting it, I should be making a decision. If I'm pasting into org mode, it will convert to org mode and paste. And then if I actually need to insert as a markdown, I can use the argument thing. So I've had this for quite a while, and it's been working. But I think I can just do it seamlessly. I don't have to think if I'm on markdown or if I'm org mode. And I probably reuse the same facilities I have in Prisma already, because they work better. Like I see the conversion between markdown and org. At least it happens better than I could figure out with Pandog. But Pandog it's amazing. Like but you have to do sometimes like stuff like this, right? And or yeah, Pandog is another beast that you have to think.
If you actually do string substitution like that in Pandoc, yeah, I think something is going very wrong there. I mean, you have to be able to configure those kind of
Yeah,
things.
yeah.
That looks messy.
Yeah, I agree. But the Pandog, I'm not bashing on Pandog, but I think if I have the evil eLisp native solution, maybe I could use that, and I'll keep testing this. And
So funny you should mention that. About a week ago, there was on our Emacs, there was a guy posting about a package commonmark-gfm.el.
I saw that, but I haven't checked it out yet. I saw the post.
He says that it provides an AST for block and inline nodes.
Okay.
So that could be something to take a look at.
Yep. Yeah. It's been. I thought about this.